So if we can have 22 over here and 23 here all together, thank you ever so much. So first of all, class of 2022, if we can just go down the row, can you tell us your name, your company, and your job title, please?
Does this work?
Hopefully.
Does it still work?
Can we?
Yeah? Okay. Oh, now I can hear. Hi, my name is Maria. So I run an EMEA marketing team for a company called PubMatic, and I consider my team key cast marketeers. Okay.
I've got this. Is this working? Yes. Oh, hi. Yeah, Simon Akers. I'm the founder of Archmon, a marketing consultancy. And yes, that's me. I help agencies and brands do things or try and do them better. That's what I've got to say.
Fantastic.
Charlene Williams, Pearl Dean, Group Senior Operations and Business Analysis, also known as Princess of Ops.
Princess of
Ops.
Ooh, good name. Class of 23.
Yeah, my name is Pedro Ramos. I'm the head of e-commerce for Havas, also known as the questions guy, as everyone during these 2 days knows me.
I'm Robyn, Sumner, AV director at EssenceMediacom. I don't have a nickname. I feel really left out. I feel like I need to get a nickname, but yeah.
Cool, and I'm Ryan DeCruz, and I'm Group Strategy Director at Hearst.
Brilliant. So who's cheering class 22 in here?
Woo, woo, come on guys, come on. Woo.
Good, good. Class 23, can we do any better than that? Oh, okay.
This is a fix.
Who said that? So, let's work out who we're saying this to first of all. Class of, I haven't wrote it down. 22, I did write it down. That was about to get very awkward. Okay. So, advertising has always existed to connect brands with people. Advertising technology will allow for new and exciting ways to strengthen, to build new connections to new people while strengthening existing connections. And they said that a lot better than me. So, class of 22. Was it Jackie Lyons from Havas, Maddie Sim from Cara, Tashawn Nicholas from the Seven Stars, or James Fleeton from The Guardian?
Friend. I think we're going to... Jackie?
Jackie Lyons,
yeah.
Final answer?
Yes.
It is Jackie Lyons.
Nice.
So this was in an article in the Media Leader, which was the future of advertising. So my question to you guys that I want to put on the back of that is, Jackie was talking there about technology, future of advertising. I'd like to know, is there any particular piece of advertising technology that's exciting you at the moment, you know, the most and why? It doesn't have to be AI, it can be if you want, but if we start with you, Maria, what would you say is exciting you at the moment?
Okay, I asked this question to my team today. I said, what's the most exciting piece? And they said, well, I'm not sure, maybe people. I was like, well, that's not tech. So everyone referred back to AI. I think from where I stand, what would be interesting to see is more innovation and sustainability space. It doesn't matter what areas it covers, whether it's doing something more effective or delivering more just general sustainable advertising. I think that's what excites me the most. Next to you.
I said yesterday, could I just say none of them? And I felt really bad, and they're like, you should be honest and say that. So I'm not saying nothing excites me. I just feel like there's a lot of conjecture out there at the moment about AI and the power of machine learning, the different things going on. And look, I'm excited about the things that are happening as a result of privacy changes. I'm excited about contextual. There's certain good people doing things with attention and semantics, and I think that's a good move to future-proof advertising, especially in the digital ecosystem. But I think generally there's a lot of, you'll find this as media buyers in the room and sellers as well, that there's a lot of chat around AI and this data-driven machine learning, and you get sick and tired of it. We've all had these decks. They all sound the same. It's like, guys, just tell me, what am I buying here? So I feel like, you know, I'm excited about all the tech, if it's, you know, delivered in the right way and it's clear why I'm buying it. You know, it's like someone's doing an advanced TV integration with a DSP for data. Great, cool, so what? Like, what am I buying? That's my thoughts on the ecosystem as it stands.
Okay.
I think I kind of disagree with what you said when you said you asked your people earlier and they said people, and you said that's not tech. Effectively, you can't have tech without people because people create tech. So for me, I'm more excited about the people and the innovations that we're going to come up with for the future of advertising, which will include the technology that will come out of it.
Okay. Good answers. Class of 23, anyone want to add anything to that particular debate? We covered it. Anyone, any of our other Future 100 out here got a strong view on any technology that's exciting them right now? Yeah, a lot of nodding in the room there. Okay, I think we found our theme for next year, perhaps. Thank you very much. Okay, so 1 point for the team class of 2023.
Oh,
We're going to guess this now.
You can cheer that, that's absolutely fine, we're all friends. So, class of 23. The media and advertising industry wants to do more to retain talent. And I think they talk the game, but if you actually dig into what they are doing to be equitable in supporting those from underrepresented groups, it's not enough. So, was that Shelley Bishton from News UK, Lee Mabey from Dentsu X, Nikki Segal from MIFA, or Emily Hansen from Uber?
We reckon it's Nikki.
Oh, you went very quick there, didn't you? Let's have a look. Yeah. I didn't leave my notes anywhere, did I? So, yes, this was a piece that Ella wrote, interviewing Ella from the Media Leader, wrote with Nikki. So, as you can see from the headline, it wasn't strictly just about talent, but the question I've got is around talent, because we've talked around that a lot. And also, last year when we was at this event, you know, harnessing talent was a topic that came up as one of the top 3 things that we should champion. So, you know, what I want to put to you guys is, what could leaders do more in the top media organisations to not only attract but retain its top talent?
Sure.
Who wants to take that one first?
I'll do it.
Ryan? Yeah.
I think there's a lot of growth that needs to happen with keeping people within an organisation. I think one of the big challenges, I used to work at a big media agency, and I speak to people across the industry, is people are put in boxes. So you follow a very rigid structure. And actually, I stepped out. I went to a company which was a startup, where had 20-year-old guys who were running massive social accounts and things like that. It was only stepping out of the industry that I'd been in for 15, 20 years to see a different setup that allowed people to be almost creative. And I think people sort of fall into a structure, and actually sometimes the talents they have or the uniqueness, whether that be something they're passionate about, their ethnic background as part of the MIFA work we do, doesn't get to come out to the forefront. So I think giving people the opportunity within their roles or within their organisations to kind of grow and get bigger in that space works really well. I think also we all hit different life stages, from this being your first job in the industry to you're suddenly promoted to a certain level to, as I found out a couple of years ago, having kids and the juggle and everything else that goes with it. There's sort of different challenges that you have outside of work as such. So organisations that sort of support you across those different bits as well, I think is really valuable.
Do you think on that point, because one of the things that came up when we had this conversation was actually a lot of talent, probably maybe for the first time in a long time, are getting plucked out of our industry into different industries. So do you think you were saying you went out, do you think we should be doing that a lot more, looking outside of our industry for different skill sets, different people that can come in and add something different?
Definitely. I think different skill sets and different backgrounds, because otherwise it's more of the same.
Yep.
And we're all just going to be this identikit thing that putting the same stuff out there with just a little bit of different creative or a little bit of different tech. So I think where people have approached things left field, where I think this is not kind of in the industry, but for example, football clubs started getting creative directors in to change what they might do because they treat themselves as fashion brands rather than sports brands. It's almost looking in a different way, because ultimately you get a saturation point in terms of what people will buy. There's only so much money that people have in their pockets or that they can do. So taking things from different angles and looking at new audiences needs new thinking. And I think that's what's really valuable.
Yeah, brilliant. Robyn?
Yeah, I think there's so many aspects of this. Looking at it from a media agency point of view, I think for us personally at EssenceMediacom, I'm not sure, we're an advertising agency, but we don't actually advertise ourselves very well. Obviously, from my point of view, I think the people like Spotify, TikTok, Google, the Unilevers, the P&Gs, in my head, they must have people lining up around the block wanting to work for them, but no one knows who Wavemaker is. Sorry, Wavemaker, because I'm saying it for EssenceMediacom as well. I don't know if people necessarily know in terms of the tech brands who we are, or the media agencies who we are. So we definitely need to get in front of not just going to universities, but going out to sort of more school level, getting in front of them, getting in front of people when they're 12 or 16 and growing up with them and showing them the benefits of getting into our industry. And then in terms of retaining them, they say that you'll stay in a job if you have one friend, basically. So it's not even a lot, just if you have that one friend, which we've sort of seen today in the other themes, that if you're having a bad day, you can go and talk to them and say, oh, this client's been a complete arsehole to me, and you can talk it out. So I think it's creating some spaces where people can make those friends, and obviously that's become quite tough with hybrid working, but you see it in pockets, like you see, if you go to the Spotify office, they have a stage, which is very cool, but what they do at lunchtime is they have a free salad bar. And it sounds, oh, that's just for the younger guys, no one really cares. But actually what you see at lunchtime, they all get their salad and they sit together as groups, like in their little tribes, making friends together. It's like a win-win, that you're getting healthy food and you're making friends. And it's the same with Google. They go, oh, all the slides and the free food, it's all sort of soft, wishy-washy stuff. But actually, if you speak to the Google team, they say they come up with their best ideas when they go downstairs and have a free brownie or a free coffee together. So I think the senior leaders need to think, actually, this soft stuff isn't just for the 20-year-olds. It isn't these they see them as like these beanbag sitting sort of chair type of people like that just want foosball tables. But it's like, those foosball tables create conversation. They're not just wishy-washy. And actually, maybe we need to embrace a bit of that to bring back creativity, to bring back togetherness, and to just get someone to have one friend, basically.
And I guess I would add to that in this world in which we operate now in terms of flexible working and not always being in the office, those chances are far and few between.
Yeah.
So we need to encourage that, do things in the workspace to make that happen a lot more. Pedro.
Yeah, on the first point about kind of shouting about agencies, etc., I completely agree with Robyn. I think the agencies are not good at all of shouting about of what they do or whatever. On the second,
why do you think that is?
Why? Most, and I'm quite direct on my answer, most of the people that are in the marketing departments of the agencies, unfortunately, are salespeople. And or people with sales background. So they are really not the communications. So I think the agencies lack on that, on the communication side. At the same time, on the retaining the talent, one of the things that I believe is extremely important to retain the talent is respect, first of all, and stop bullshitting people that work in the workplaces. Because the reality is, we are all grown ups. We all have a smartphone that we can Google the things that are happening. So if they tell us X is happening, and we go to Google, and actually it's not X, it's Y, but it's like, stop bullshitting, because if you stop bullshitting, people will be happier in the workplace. People will actually sometimes deliver better work, and you will retain that people in the agencies.
All very good answers. Class 22, anything to add to that, anyone?
I would add, as future leaders, is like my motto in life is to be the change I want to see in the world. So as a future leader, be the leader that you wanted. So if you want to retain talent, what would have retained you in what you're doing? Like for me, I like nurturing, I like being made to feel valued and respected. So as a leader, that's what the values I should then be empowering my team with and making sure that they feel that way. And I think that's the only way you're going to, in this industry, like I've worked for a very big media owner who didn't really care about their people, even though outwardly they said the people was the main focus of their business. And it's like, I'm now not there because I wasn't nurtured, and the leaders there didn't really do anything. They weren't the leaders they wanted, and you could tell they weren't. I think that's the best way to retain your talent. Just be human, basically.
And I just wanted to add, sorry, because I feel like maybe I was quite negative. The only reason I say that is because I love our industry. I've always loved it. I think a lot of us here in the room, we've worked in this industry for years and years and years. You almost like can't get away from it. So it's like, how do we attract that talent to get closer to what we love, for them to see what we see, that you do have tough days, but you have so many, like today's been a fantastic day in our sort of media world. So how can we show those guys of what we do day to day?
Any other? Oh, the hand went up straight over there, and then I'll come to you afterwards.
Yeah, I build on what you were saying, saying that like, well, there's a couple of things. I think one thing is we prioritise being famous to clients, right? Because that's where the money is, and not to prospective talent. Like I came in through not a media or marketing background in the industry, landed in it by accident. Now I love it, and it's been great. But I didn't even know the media agency existed, let alone MediaCom or M6 where I work. And then the other thing I would say is like, on the point of getting a more diverse workforce for the future, we've got to get out of London because it prioritises affluence and it prioritises a certain type of person, and particularly with distributed working or hybrid working, like I don't think it's everyone's dream anymore to move to Clapham and live in a house.
Sorry, do you not know Inferno is in
Yeah, that's insane.
It's not, do we need
It's
to...
like a rites of passage.
Not just for that reason, but like, you know, I know we're not learning this, and me and you do the same numbers. We've got now an apprenticeship office in Birmingham, we've got one in Manchester. But I can see a future where each whole code has got one office per county where people can work, and they don't need to save up the money or rely on their parents or rely on whatever it might be in order just to get in the door. Because if they then do really well and they want to move to London, whatever it might be, that's great, but like, it doesn't need to all be here anymore, and I think like we're only starting to catch up with that.
I totally agree with that, by the way. Like that whole thing about, I talk a lot about, I work with certain initiatives that look at social mobility, people from working class backgrounds. I mean, some of you will do the manifesto, by the way. Do it. It's great, right? It was good for a few of us. Obviously, Chris did the mental health one. Tashin did a brilliant one about DE&I, and Lee did one about ageism. I did one on neurodiversity. I was late diagnosed with ADHD, and it was all these different things. And I think the point we're getting to is that you've got a suite of different types of people who want to feel like they belong in this industry, right? When I first moved to London from my East Midlands roots, and I heard people talking about Val d'Isère and Soho House, I was like, what the fuck's going on here? This is great. I'm in the wrong room. But what happens is, actually, you change. Sometimes you sort of mask to do that. And you're buying around at the bar for all your mates, and you're like, shit, I'm moving money from my Monzo to my NatWest at the bar. I got loads of these anecdotes. The point I make is, we need to make this a place where everyone feels like they can belong. And I think with that, you're going to have, there's so many links between DE&I and backgrounds and everything. It's going to be a better industry. I always say you can't be all the people and sell to the people if you are not all the people. I want to see every type of person in a room with a client. I don't want to see the big red trouser wearing CEO swanning in at 4 o'clock with the chat. I want to see everyone. Do you know what I mean? So that's my big thing about it. Like, you've got to embrace different types of people from geography everywhere. I really think that.
Awesome. You had your hand up as well.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Following on from that point, so to make everyone feel like they belong, do you think, all of you, that there are enough role models in our industry?
No, not at all.
From an optics perspective, we've all heard, if you can see it, you can be it. Is there anyone to see for us to aspire towards?
It's not even that there's not enough role models. We're still only promoting a certain type of person.
Yeah, 100%.
That person has to be X, Y, and Z to get promoted. And so we're saying, be yourself, but yourself needs to be this, this, and this for you to get more money. And you want more money, don't you?
It's not even just promotion. Like, we were having a conversation actually earlier today when we were talking about MIFA and all the work we do. When I joined MIFA, I had a little bit of a culture shock because I joined this industry a few years ago, and I didn't see anyone like me in senior levels, so I didn't believe we were actually there. I joined MIFA, and the number of people who were at senior positions, I was like, God damn, where have these people actually been? And it wasn't because they've not been there the whole time. They've had careers that are older than me, some of them, but they're not being showcased. So it's not even about being promoted. We've got people who are doing great jobs right now at all varying levels, and we're not seeing them because they're not the ones that are in campaign, they're not the ones that are in all our publications. They are in media leader, so I will give media leader a shout out because they are shouting that, but we're not seeing enough of it. I think that's the thing. Because to answer your question about role models, it's not even just senior levels. Like, I know juniors who can't come in this because they don't see even themselves at junior level, and that's actually even sad, because how are we going to attract them if they're not even seeing themselves at the bottom, let alone the top?
And also, like, attracting talent that might have left the industry. Like, I've recently hired someone for the team who left the industry for 10 years. They've been doing yoga for the last 10 years and decided to come back. And is the most senior person on the team, the most knowledgeable and experienced, and we absolutely love it because she brings something to the table none of us actually have. And then this collaboration kind of drives forward, and the whole team, you know, we have different languages, different cultures, different background, and I absolutely love it. And I think when companies state, you know, diverse hiring, it brings that element as well. So it's truly diverse across all the levels, including bringing people back, because there's so much talent that might have left, actually.
But I think it's more about, sorry if that was me, it's less about saying that you're having diverse hires, it's showing it, because it's easy to get the clickbait and say, we've hired X, Y, and Z, we've got this percentage. Where are you actually showing it? And the one picture you have of the one black person or the one Asian person in your company, please stop it. It's actually showcase the real. Talk about the great planner that you've got who's done this, or talk about the senior member who's done X, Y, and Z. Shout about it. And that's, again, what you're saying about like media agencies. We're not shouting about what we're actually doing. We're making ourselves famous for brands, but trust, the whole point of like advertising is there's got to be a trust in advertising. How can you trust what you can't see? Like, a business can come to you and like, oh, you can give me money, you can make me so much money, but the people who are actually making me the money, who are they? I want to trust that.
And it's all to Pedro's point, marketing and comms and stuff. There's a lot of performative content calendary bollocks. You know, like you no, seriously, let's be clear on this. You know, the 8th of March, you'll have International Women's Day, right? You'll have Black History Month, you'll have Mental Health Day, and you know, you get the certain people who fit a certain identity on the stalls in the foyer area to talk about it, and someone comes in from somewhere and we're all, you know, sharing our Pret lunch and learn, we're all having a lovely day. But actually, where's the needle moving, for the want of a better phrase? That's very cliche, sorry, I hate saying that, but really, like, what are we doing through the year to mark the homework? Like, it's get accountability, you know?
But I do want to end on like a positive note. I do, because I don't want this to just be like, I do think it's getting better. Like Lydia in the front, she's done so much to champion black voices in business, black and brown voices in business. I feel like at EssenceMediacom, we have Kate Rollinson and Satin, you know, that Kate's a female CEO. You know, 20 years ago, you wouldn't be able to mention your kids, that you have kids in the workplace. Now we can freely say, actually, it's my child's assembly tomorrow, so I won't be able to make that meeting, but I can talk to you at 11. So I do feel like we have progressed. You know, we are moving things forward, but there's still work to do.
Okay. We've got 2 more points, I think. I think you had your hand up. We'll come to you first and then you second.
Yeah, that's why I said the respect and stop the bullshit, because that's the reality. Is like every single year it comes out a report, from another magazine that is like the school report and kind of puts a bunch of numbers. If you actually go to the agencies that are named, that is not happening at all. I had situations, and sorry guys, I'm not British at all. I'm Portuguese, European. And I had situations that I was the only person with a different background in the room. And no black heritage, no different mentalities, nothing. And I think it goes to that diversity. Agencies and companies, they talk about diversity, but when you actually are there, doesn't exist, or is like 1% of what is kind of shown within the agency.
I think there was, sorry, just really quickly on it,
sure.
was because it's something that, being the only, I'm going to take the ethnic minority route because for obvious reasons, but it's something we talk about in MEFA, and you go into a room and you're the only person of that colour in the room, and often you've got to think about from, let's say agency or media owner side of things, but then you think of clients and marketing directors, it's again, the diversity is not there. So often what we've talked about, and talked about this with a few people at MEFA, is making business decisions, the value of the Black Pound report, and that's one thing, but not just for that, for different ethnic groups, for for female audiences, for older audiences, for all these different groups which are not represented at board level or at C-suite level when they go into those heads-to-heads, but actually because they don't know, those people don't know, they're not diverse, they don't know enough. But if you can prove from on a business level why there is an opportunity in these different, even older, younger, diverse groups, suddenly it becomes a business thing. It's not about being nice and being diverse for the sake of being diverse. It's actually a business strategy, business reason. And I think there needs to be a lot of that supported across not just one company, not just Mediacom or publishers or whatever, but everyone across the industry to make it an actual, here's a competitive advantage to having those people in your business at your client side and then targeting them. And that's, I think, what needs to happen.
And I was going to say, because we're going to come to them, I have to move it on in a sec, but what I will say on this, so the reason we do this sort of thing is so we can get this sort of information. There is not enough people in this room. Clearly, this is a massive point of debate that we want to get across. So one of the things that we look to kind of do with this thing, and I'd like to speak to you guys, all of you guys, is if we were able to put this session on in front of a room full of leaders and tell them that they have to be sitting in this room to listen to this conversation, listen to your feedback, is that something you guys want us to do?
100%.
Yeah.
100%, brilliant, okay.
If you do it, what you've got to do, no, you've not got to do, sorry.
You've got to do this.
Told.
Come on, Mum, what have I got to do?
But, just like what you said, just showing it's the business imperative, because I often find sometimes that it's just human nature, eyes glaze over, when it seems to be about something negative. So when you always show the benefits, the innovation, the creation, the profitability, the bottom line, those types of things, and then you can sort of wedge that message across. But sometimes it's too blatantly obvious.
Yeah. Well, look, what we'll do is if you guys can send me all this feedback in, and then we can make something of it. I'm going to give you the final word on this one, just so we can move on. I did see you, Lee, but as I said, if you send me everything that you want us to do around this, we can make it bigger, and it's all about us not making sure that
we'll just stay.
it doesn't just stay in this room.
Order food in.
Final word.
I think just a quick couple of points when we're talking about diverse hiring and retention. I think it's really important to look at each area of diversity independently. Like I think for the longest time, businesses and I speak for media agencies have been, trying to get the tick boxy PR and trade press by just one area of diversity, like 25% of women in leadership roles, but that could be straight, white, able women, and really kind of looking at each area of diversity and intersectionality, because you could be doing really well on gender diversity, and this is not to say that gender diversity is not important. Absolutely it is, but then you could be doing brilliantly in gender diversity, but then when it comes to ethnic diversity, sexuality, disability, ageism, that might be a huge fail. So I think it's really important to look at each area of diversity independently and not kind of club everything together to just kind of secure the trade PR. I think the other point I wanted to make is about ERGs as well. I think the role of ERGs, because a lot of people from diverse backgrounds within businesses are involved in different ERGs, and that's often like free labor, and there's a lot of work. There is a lot of work in leading networks and safe spaces and groups, and these ERGs put together events, and there's so much work, and that's not often paid. And I think paying people that are involved in their business ERGs and networks, I think that could go a long way in hiring and retaining talent, and kind of building that business case as well.
Yeah. Let me ask a quick question, because this has been obviously a really hot topic. The next two topics we were going to cover, and I'm going to let you know, you can decide whether we move on or whether we stay with this one. Yeah. The next one was going to be, what is the one thing we would change when dealing with media agencies? And the second one was going to be, what would you advise your clients, advertisers, to do more of to provide more value to their customers? Now, we can move on to that, or if you want to stay with this talent conversation for the next 10 minutes, I'm happy with that. Do we want to stay with the talent piece?
I say stay on talent.
Stay on talent?
Yeah, you guys are listening.
What do you guys want to?
Stay on talent, fine. You don't know how long it took me to do this PowerPoint.
I want to win as well. I want to win the quiz.
Exactly. Go talk about talent then.
I want to win the quiz.
Right, Lee, you had a point to make.
It's money, 100%.
It's money.
From my media in a background, I remember a conversation after George Floyd that happened where one of our biggest clients basically said, I want to know what you're doing about diversity or we're not renewing. And that shocked them. And when I say senior leaders were like, oh, who can we stick in this ERG or who can we stick here? And you at that company, you saw a slew of faces that you'd never seen before just to show. So it is showing them where they're losing money and the benefits of what they should actually be doing. If they're not seeing that, then...
Yeah, I agree with that. Sorry. I agree with what Lee's saying. And for me, one of the things, obviously, money will play a massive role on that. But I do think that, unfortunately, for all of us in this room, it's going to be the change of the generation within this industry as well. I think that will eventually trigger some of the change that we are talking about, but until that change of generation happens in the leadership roles, it will stay the same.
Yeah, we have to be the generation that they see.
Yeah,
We need to be the grey hairs, right, in 20 years, right? We're the...
Yeah, exactly.
It's generation.
We've
We're the
got a
worst
comment.
industry for it as well.
We've got a comment here. You've been very patient with your hand up. I'm going to come to you. I've seen your hand up as well. Don't worry. So we're going to come to you then here. But this is great.
If we're talking about talent, I think one of the things people need to think about is retaining talent. I think some of the things that I can speak to my experience at least. Some of it is down to burnout. Agencies will say that they want people of colour, but then you might be the model minority that they're going to put in all the ERGs, all of the pitches, and you're doing a lot of the extra work for free. And you might be, for example, I am a carer, so that's an extra level of like if you're from a different background or culture, certain backgrounds and cultures, are financially supporting their families. So it's all of this additional workload that can be quite exhausting when you're within an agency. And I think, for example, trying to sell in diversity when you are, from an underrepresented background is emotionally exhausting when you are having to sort of put the case forward for your existence on a commercial level. There is something about that I find icky, to be honest, because you are putting pounds on people. I know it's our job, I know we're in marketing, but there's an element of it that then leads to really inauthentic activations of diverse work.
I think that if you're an underrepresented group, you always feel like you've just been worked that bit harder, which exacerbates the burnout factor.
Because if you're like a black person, you're trying to tell your client, black people shop.
Yeah, we do.
It's at that point where you're doing.
I think there's a point on what you are saying that for me it's going to be also the connection with what we I don't know your name, Tom, were saying about the measurement piece as well. This industry, and unfortunately I have to say, is measured by the awards that are on the shelves in the offices, and most of it we have like the Cannes Awards and all of that. If you look at it, you will see that I would say a few agencies or the awards that were won in the last 2 years are actually done by the normal person or the character that you have in the agencies. If you look to the awards, if you look to the list, actually you have a representation there. But as you said, and everyone said, who is going to go to the stage to receive the award? That is the point. And I think that is where we will be able to actually go to our agencies and senior leadership and make the point of, I did this work, I deserve it, I deserve to be there.
This has been excellent. I'm so sorry we're going to have to cut people off on this, but we are running out of time. You've been very patient. I'm going to give you the final word, then I'm going to come back to you guys for a final thought. The final thought was going to be to do with the game, but you've all ruined that for me. Thank you. No, I'm okay. I don't have feelings. But what I'm going to ask you guys, and you're not prepared for this because it was going to be something different, and it's your own fault, by the way. All right? But what I was going to say is, okay, so if we are going to do a final thought at the end, it's what do you want to happen after this in terms of perhaps something that we can do to help as the media leader? So have a think about that. Let's get a final word from the audience here.
That ad is the best
Follow that. But no, let's wrap this up now. And as I said, I want to hear from everyone in terms of how we move this forward. Hopefully we'll have some good ideas here. We'll start with you, Ryan, and we will go down the line.
So in terms of what we do next?
Yes. Or is there something, that maybe that we can do something? I know Lee was very passionate about, we've been talking about this for a long time, and look, we never set ourselves up there to say we're going to come up with the answers, but we'd like to be hopefully part of something that can end in a solution, if you like, or certainly get ourselves on the road to that.
I think for me, chewing the fat and having conversation is nice, but it needs to be backed up with education. So I do a lot of stuff around sustainability, and a lot of people don't want to touch sustainability. For me, it's the most important thing, bar none, in media, but that's a different conversation. But it's almost like people don't want to touch sustainability from a marketing point of view because they're terrified about getting it wrong. And I think when it comes to different backgrounds, people don't know enough. Let's be honest, it's an education thing. So I think any session you set up almost needs to be half workshop, as in, here's what you need to know about people from different regional backgrounds, different ethnic backgrounds, neurodiverse, disabilities, and the opportunity. We've just done a big piece at Hearst around Gen X because a lot of our titles are in that space, and trying to realise that every brief that has Gen Z on it, it's like, actually Gen X have got a lot more money that's not being tapped into. It's almost that education piece that it needs to be done first off, and then the discussion around it as well. Because like you say, you've got case studies to back it up, but it's almost like educate me, show me how it works, and then let's have the discussion point. So that's the structure. Brilliant. Is important.
Robyn?
I think mine goes back to what I sort of first said about, people need one friend to stay in their work. And I'm hoping that this network of people that are in the room, we can all be each other's one friend. But I actually think some of the best training courses I've been on have been really great. Like me and Aisha went on Lydia's course, and actually the course was amazing, but the best thing about it was I became really close to Aisha, and we would then message each other, how's your day going? So I would hope it's reciprocal, but feel free to, we should get together on LinkedIn if you ever need to talk to me about anything, or if I see that you have been on this course on the future of media, and you're one of the 100s, then sorry, I'm going to reach out to you and I'm going to connect with you, and hopefully it's created an open door for us to connect about anything, about any topic or conversation. If you do want to talk about D&I or sustainability, then we should be talking to each other, because we need to be the friend that keeps us in this industry.
I would say that for me is all about action, and I think that one of the, I saw in a presentation, I don't remember if it was today during the morning or yesterday, someone saying that think about the future, not the past. So the past is the past, okay? We cannot fix the past, but we can fix the future. And how we fix it is actually doing actions and going towards a goal. So I think that is my main thought, is doing what we say that we are going to do, action on the points that we mentioned, and do something, because otherwise this will never change.
I think leading from Pedro with the future, and also think about, I'm going to direct this directly at you, Steve, and media lead on what you can do is think about the future of this industry. So pair with people like Brixton Finishing School, I know a great thing called Creative Mentor Network, and bring the future, the people that we want to attract, the people who don't know about this industry. Like, we have some great speakers over the 2 days, and when I was a kid, I would have loved to have seen these people and seeing what they're doing and just get an understanding. So bring them in, use the sponsors that we've got that have allowed us to be here in the Future 100 to actually look for the future 100s and bring them so they can see this. And it's not just, a CEO from a company's come, or they've brought the market person. It's actually the people who we want in the media. So we talk about the future of media and the future of everything, but we're the present that are in watching it. We're not actually speaking to the future. So I think that would be my final thought.
Okay. Fantastic.
I mean, the future of media is in this room, right? So obviously we're the past in 2022 apparently, but the 2023, you guys are the future, so are we. We've got a few things as well, but I remember because I voted for one of the 23 cohort myself, and was it courage, inclusion, excellence,
Courage,
diversity,
It was-
innovation?
Yeah.
There's basically 4 things that we all want to be pretty good at, right? And I'm sure we're all very good at all of them in many different ways. And I think, you know, they weren't an accident. When you pick those, I remember we were talking about this, Steve, when you started it. When you pick those qualities, they were the things that people want, right? Regardless of your background or whatever you do, it's all about that you know, being courageous, but also having the empathy and being a leader. And being a leader, I think Duncan mentioned it earlier on, like, be confident doesn't mean you know everything. Confidence is me saying, I haven't got a clue to a client. That comes with experiences. Like, you need to give people the experiences to have those, that agency to, the Dunning-Kruger effect, like, the more you know, the more you need to know. And I think we need to embrace people and bring young people through if you're account manager, bring the execs through, etc. Give them the journey that you want to be, like, to your point. And, you know, and also embrace, and I think if you increase, you know, diversity and you increase programs to help people neurodiverse, etc., you actually understand more and you learn more, because ultimately we're in the business of selling more things, right? So I think it's really good if we can learn about each other more. Also speak to clients. We haven't talked about clients much today. Clients are the ones who, like, know what they're buying. So let's find out what they want. Really, like, you know, show face with them. They have more respect, and it becomes a system. So I think we can all make change and be courageous and inclusive and awesome. So yeah, that's what I think.
There's 0 seconds left.
We've been at 0 seconds for about the last 10 minutes, I think.
The future is people. I think all of us here and those that are not in the room, I think it's so important to hear from everyone, from, you know, beyond MIFA and other great organizations like Bloom, but advertising. There is like a long range of, I think, people that are doing fantastic work, and we're actually not hearing much from them. So I think bringing them and, you know, sharing this example, sharing those case studies, sharing those things that can change the bottom line, and actually also, you know, directly ask the clients, like, what do they want? What do they care about? Do they really care about ticking the box? I don't think so. I think they want the real change as well. And I think hopefully one of the guys said before, you know, a great leader is not just the one who listens, is the one that hears. I think turning into that active listening and hearing and turning it into action, that should be the future.
Brilliant. Well, look, it's generally not often we allow things to run over like this, but I think it was worth it. I hope you've all enjoyed it. Thank you to these guys up here. Thank you to all of you.